It is just gone 10 o'clock Central Africa time. Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. Brought to you by Eswatini Television. I'm Sanapo Ngwane alongside the Maklabi Songambulo and Sign Language. Great to have you with us and making us the news channel of choice. We begin here first, your headlines tonight. His Majesty King Eswatini III says Africa has taken a firm stand to neither tolerate coup nor recognize governments established through unconstitutional means. His Majesty King Eswatini III has attended the Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum that was held in New York in the United States of America. The number of people accessing clean water and sanitation in 5 communities under Kanyene constituency has increased from 47% in the year 2009 to 74% at present. Good evening. The news in detail will begin here. Our first story. His Majesty King Eswatini III says Africa has taken a firm stand not to tolerate coup nor recognize governments established through unconstitutional means. His Majesty was addressing the Peace and Security Council at the assembly that was held at the United Nations headquarters in New York.
This meeting is not merely a forum for reflection but a call to action, ensuring that Africa's peace remains rooted in African wisdom and determination. We assemble at the critical crossroad where violent conflicts, research, unconstitutional changes of government and coups persist, and new threats from climate-induced instability to transnational crime compound our struggle. Africa has taken a firm stand not to tolerate coups nor recognize governments established through unconstitutional means. The African Union, together with the United Nations, must uphold this principle at all times. No matter how popular a coup may appear, we cannot and we will not embrace those who seize power by force. We must reject any attempt to overthrow a legitimate government. Those who assent to power through coups must face consequences, not acceptance. The African Union and the United Nations have a responsibility to act decisively, ensuring that no coup is legitimized or recognized. This is not merely a policy, it is a moral imperative. As enshrined in the AU 50th Anniversary Solemnity Declaration and Agenda 2063, we reaffirm our sacred pledge to silence the guns by 2030, sparing future generations the scars of war. Guided by the core objectives of this gathering, let us seize this opportunity to reassess, renew, and reinforce our path to enduring peace. We must, as heads of state and government, provide the space to reassess the African Union's conflict resolution efforts, reflecting on critical lessons and best practices to enhance the PSC's mandate. Eswatini, as a member of the African Union PSC for the 2025-2028 term, has seen firsthand the power of our tools, the continental early warning systems, the panel of wise preventative diplomacy, and the African standby force. However, we have learned that early warnings too often go unheeded, allowing crises to escalate. Let us commit to codify best practices from successful interventions. Eswatini therefore proposes a General Assembly-led compliance unit with clear timelines that will transform our resolutions from aspirations into unbreakable commitments. We must safeguard the efficiency and legitimacy of the African solutions to African problems, the very essence of our union. Further, Eswatini urges the full operationalization of the African Standby Force and fostered financing through the AU Peace Fund and innovative partnerships. We need to renew the PSC delivery of its conflict resolution mandate, focusing on relations with partners. These include, but not limited to, regional economic communities and regional mechanisms, the UN Security Council, the European Union Peace and Security Committee, and the League of Arab States Peace and Security Council. Fragmented collaborations have hindered progress. Let us forge harmonized protocols for joint early warnings, shared intelligence, and coordinated actions, always under African leadership, to amplify our global voice. Finally, we must intensify our efforts to ensure full implementation of AU-facilitated peace agreements and timely completion of political transitions. Excellencies, we must confront structural imbalances by advocating UN Security Council reform as per the Eswatini consensus for Africa's equitable representation. Our generation bears the duty to turn vision into reality. Beyond rhetoric, with courage and unity, let us silence the guns forever. May this meeting mark a turning point where Africa's children inherit peace and a brighter future, brimming with hope, not challenges. Thank you. May Almighty God bless us.
And to these now, His Majesty King Mswati III has attended the Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum that was held in New York in the United States of America. The forum was also attended by world leaders and top leaders from public, private and non-profit sectors.
His Majesty King Mswati III attended the Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum, which took place alongside the United Nations General Assembly in New York. The forum brought together top leaders from the public, private and non-profit sectors to address the world's most urgent challenges and opportunities. The forum also highlighted Africa as a hub for innovation, investment and infrastructure expansion. This year, the forum is honored to host His Majesty King Mswati III at this year's convening. Past forums have welcomed over 50 heads of state, 250 global CEOs and influential leaders from finance, technology, policy, academia, and a few other sectors.
At Bloomberg Philanthropies, we've seen the power of collaboration and partnership. It's at the heart of everything that we do. Our mission is to help the greatest number of people live longer, better lives. In pursuit of that goal, we look for needs that aren't yet met.
The forum was officially opened by the founder, Michael Bloomberg, who highlighted on the next era of global cooperation to strengthen collaboration, unlock growth, and deliver real-world impact. There were different speakers who spoke on different topics such as harnessing the power of artificial intelligence, biodiversity imperative, and as well as navigating the new global economy, just to name a few. His Majesty was accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Kolile Shakantu, the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Savannah Mazia, the Minister of Finance, Neil Reichenbach, the Minister of Commerce and Trade Industry, Mangoba Kumalo, and the Eswatini Ambassador to the United Nations, His Excellency Tamil Dlamini. His Majesty King Mswati III and Inkosikati Mage Landendesa attended a dinner that was hosted by the President of the United States of America, His Excellency Donald Trump, and the First Lady Melania Trump. The president hosted the dinner to welcome global leaders who have come to attend the United Nations high-level meeting. The dinner that was held at Lotte New York Palace followed the official opening of the 88th United Nations General Assembly. On another note, Inkosikati Mage Landendesa joined the first ladies and spouses from the various United Nations member countries at a luncheon that was hosted by the First Lady of the United States of America, Melania Trump. During the luncheon, the First Lady launched a new global children's initiative. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia with Zweli Masugu in New York, in the United States of America.
Now, the number of people accessing clean water and sanitation in 5 communities under the Ukanyene constituency has increased from 47% in the year 2009 to 74% at present. Now, this was disclosed by World Vision Eswatini Country Director Amos Zaindi during the close-out and handover ceremony held at Ukanyene Ngundla. In the same event, the Acting Minister for Natural Resources and Energy, the Honourable Apollo Mapalala, thanked World Vision for assisting the country in its efforts to ensure that all citizens have clean water by the year 2030, as per the aspirations of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The event was held at Ukanyene constituency.
Vision started working on the water and sanitation project worth over 5 million in Malangani in the Kanyani constituency in the year 2009 in Ngilichi, Bengosi, Gaini, Nkulamini and Tsenga, which then led to other developmental programs such as sewing and dressmaking, organic gardening, children's rights advocacy and training, and others. The Acting Minister for Natural Resources and Energy, Honourable Apollo Mapalala, says government is grateful to the organization for the good work which will help the kingdom to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by 2030.
There's one thing that I like about what you do. When you start your program, you do a baseline. When you finish, you do another baseline, so that you can be able to see if the interventions have really yielded the desired results. That is why we are now able to say we have moved from whatever percentage, I think it was around the 30s and 40s in terms of access to clean water, up to 76. It's lokhu ke ngumsebenzi lomkhulu kakhulu losewendile futhi dithelo letinhle kakhulu nakuye hulumende wengwenyama.
World Vision National Director Amos Zaindi says, as an organization, they are confident that the projects left behind will be sustained as the community has a sound development leadership.
Community participation was at the center of everything that was happening here. Therefore, we are very much assured that the community here, through the government structures that are here, will continue to maintain and sustain all the gains that we have achieved here. We encourage that we are leaving behind a community and its community leadership structures that are ready, that are determined, that have confidence and capacity to continue to implement and carry on with the work that we have achieved together. And this is the legacy of Ekukanyeni, not of dependency, but empowerment.
The project uses boreholes and streams and fountains as its water source, which is then treated before it's distributed to the communities. Reporting Mbongadobe, Ekukanyeni.
Now, the citizens of Eswatini have the duty to safeguard and protect all infrastructure developed by the kingdom's partners, even after the projects they have been implementing have come to an end. These were the sentiments of the Honourable Minister for Tingundla Administration and Development, Kumbuzo Dlamini, which he delivered when receiving the office block from World Vision Eswatini, which the organization had been using during their stay at Ukanyene constituency, implementing various projects or developmental programs in 5 communities. The Honourable Minister says the safeguarding of the infrastructure enables government to focus its finances on other programs pertinent to the nation's development agenda.
Indaba ye-service is very important. Kumqoka umuntu asaphila udzinga i-service.
He says the issue of service delivery is of utmost importance, hence the Prime Minister and his cabinet have decided to spring into action after getting a directive from His Majesty the King to ensure that the decentralization of government services is speedily implemented. He says it is therefore important for all cabinet ministers to go out to the people and partner with the international partners to bring services to the people. He says as the building has been handed over to the constituency, the community should take good care of it. He says it is disheartening that government has spent about 6 million in Malangani rehabilitating an Ingundla building that was burnt down by people. He says the Ingundla has now been installed with CCTV cameras, which means arsonists and any other criminal elements will be easily caught if they try to destroy the new structures. Reporting, Mbangwa Dube, Mbabane.
The Ministry of Education continues to review the curriculum of Eswatini to ensure that it aligns with the industry needs by hosting the National Conference on Curriculum. The Minister of Education, the Honourable Onqumalo, says that education is the cornerstone of development, hence the need to constantly assess and improve it. The Minister made these remarks during the conference held in Manzini.
The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with all relevant stakeholders, including researchers, writers, and industry representatives, convened a conference to discuss curriculum reforms. The Minister of Education, Honourable Onqumalo, says that the aim of the conference is to review the curriculum to ensure that young people acquire the necessary skills in line with concerns raised during the national dialogue esibayeni.
Sifuna ukuphuma ngokuthi labantwana besinabaphuma esikolweni bakhone ukuthola imisebenzi. Labantwana basinabaphuma esikolweni babe ngilento lefuna dinkapani.
The minister noted that these discussions are the fruits of earlier discussions and confirmed that competency-based education, which has already been implemented at primary level, will be rolled out in high schools next year. The National Curriculum Center Director Musa Hlophe explained that the ministry invited industries to share the types of skills they require.
Sihlanganise government partners lababambise uhulumende labenema research nema researchers la khona.
Hlophe says that researchers have also been engaged to help provide ideas on how the curriculum can be transformed for the better. Eva Maria Ekdal, Head of Cooperation at the European Union, says that the EU is currently supporting the empowerment of young people through technical and vocational education and training.
Now we are focusing more in our current program on combating the very high youth unemployment, and where we see that there is a mismatch between the skills that are being developed and the job opportunities. So our big flagship program for the moment is actually entirely devoted to the education and developing skills for youth, and also looking at vulnerable groups in Eswatini to make sure that they are also skilled to get an employment.
The Kingdom of Eswatini is preparing to fully implement curriculum reforms by 2030 in line with the theme of the conference. Reporting, Sondomlangeni, Manzini.
NAMPOD has removed some of the terms and conditions that make it difficult for farmers to access farming subsidy in the company. NAMPOD CEO Pegizo Mazia says they have reduced the 1 hectare to 0.5 hectares, which makes it affordable for farmers to access the subsidy. NAMPOD had a meeting with farmers to discuss the market levy.
NAMPOD had a meeting with farmers from various parts of the country to discuss market levy and innovation platform for farmers. NAMPOD CEO Pegizo Mazia says they have removed some of the terms and conditions that had always made farming difficult for farmers, especially the access to input subsidy.
The minimum size ya 1 hectare yekuthi umguzu umuntu aqualify abafinyeleli labanye abalimi. Sacela ke bhodini yasivumela ukuthi asiyehlise sale icala ku 0.5 hectares.
Mazia says they have reduced the hectare that had always charged from 1 hectare to 0.5 hectares, where the farmer used to contribute about 60% and NAMPOD would contribute 40%. Farmer says this was an insightful meet-up and they managed to share ideas and seek clarity where possible.
Phindze siyakhuta lana umkhuba lezivama sehle siwenda lo we-side selling ngokuthi sesifuna ukuthi icosha-coshela letinye imali eceleni ukuthi eyi kufuna singakwenza ngoba sekuyi-part of kokuthi sesivele sowuphula yona le contract.
They say going forward, life and business looks easy after everything that was discussed, especially exporting their products.
We need to also exercise the export market facility.
They also agreed that they will no longer call themselves just ordinary farmers, but they will refer themselves as agripreneurs. Reporting, I'm Kian MCB, Manzini.
Now, in order for a family business to stand the test of time and leave a lasting legacy, there is a need to incorporate innovative entrepreneurial activities, embrace risk-taking, and integrate artificial intelligence. Now, this was part of the discussion during the second edition of the Family Business Summit, hosted by READY, supported by different partners, including Standard Bank, Eswatini, under the theme Growing Legacies, Embracing Change. The event was held at Happy Valley Hotel in Eswatini.
We are looking at how you can create a legacy. It was not just enough to make profit. A business must also contribute to the development of the community. It must be run ethically. We are focusing on the issues of risk. We are including the use of technology in family businesses.
The Director of Small and Medium Enterprises at the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mluleki Dlamini, who was representing the minister, says government has put initiatives in place to support businesses.
We continue to strengthen policies that support MSME, family businesses. Recently, we've been piloting a Citizen Economic Empowerment Act, which we are developing regulations that will empower all business owned by Eswatini.
Sifiso Ndwandwa, Executive Director of Sotaba Enterprise Associates, says the idea of Family Business Summit is to enrich local family businesses.
We wanted to bring best practice to this kingdom from elsewhere to make sure that we blend that which is our own lived experiences of family-owned business with that which comes from international communities.
The African Development Bank states that family businesses on the continent constitute a large percentage of businesses in Africa, with employment figures reaching around 70 to 90% of jobs in some countries. Reporting, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
Right, let's segue into the world of business, where we take a look at financial indicators that will give us a sense of how markets fared today in the Up Next financial report.
Standard Bank.
Now, sports news. On a sad note, former Manzini Wanderers and Sihlangu Semnegati legend Clement King Clay Mluli's Nomo. Mluli passed away after suffering from an undisclosed illness. During his reign as a coach, Mluli had 3 stints with Manzini Wanderers as the assistant coach to the current coach Nyanga Crooks Hlope, with the last one being back in 2023-2024 season. Mluli held an advanced coaching certificate and a CAF licensee as a coach. Right, and just like that, that brings us to the home stretch of the news at 10 at Eswatini TV. Before we go, here's a quick reminder of news making headlines tonight. His Majesty King Mswati III says Africa has taken a firm stand to neither tolerate coups nor recognize governments established through unconstitutional means. His Majesty King Mswati III has attended the Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum that was held in New York in the United States of America. And the number of people accessing clean water and sanitation in 5 communities under the Gukanyeni constituency has increased from 47% in the year 2009 to 74% at present. Right, that brings us to the conclusion of the news at 10 at Eswatini TV. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for choosing to stay with us. Up next, we cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the team at Eswatini TV. For now, it is good night and God bless.